Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Mr. Shakespeare here again with you on the 14th of March, 2023. I'm here with Remote Viewer and Psychic Medium, Liz Cross. How are you doing today, Liz?
Better than the Silicon Valley Bank. Anyway, I don't have a clue what's going on. I've stayed away from the news. I don't understand it. I want it to be blind going into this probe. I don't want any front loading. So take it away, Mr. Shakespeare.
Okay. All right. So Silicon Valley Bank has gone belly up and has required yet another socialist bailout from the Biden administration. So before we go into that side of it, let's find out what went wrong. So, okay, can you grab Silicon Valley Bank, please?
I can, yes.
Where do we start? When did they first know that they were insolvent?
When did you first know that you were insolvent? 2021.
So they've been trading insolvent for the past year and a half, something like that. Well, since whenever in 2021.
That's correct. And they were getting more and more money in, thinking it would solve the problems, and it just didn't.
Okay, does a company not have a fiduciary duty to its shareholders to inform them that they are actually insolvent? Do they not have did they not have a duty to the stock exchange to say that they are insolvent?
To inform your shareholders and stock exchange that you are insolvent? No.
No?
That's what they're telling me. No.
Oh.
Whether they do or don't, I'm not sure. I would imagine that they do, but they're saying no.
Okay. All right. So they've been trading as an insolvent entity since whenever in 2021. Okay. Mm-hmm. What was the final straw then last week that broke the camel's back that actually forced them into what happened?
They just are completely out of money. They were using other people's money to pay themselves. They just had nothing left. It's just broke. I mean, I'm looking at it, and there was just nowhere else to pull money from. Word got out. Actually, somehow word got out. Lots of people started pulling money out of this bank.
Right. When did that start happening? When was that? When was the start of that?
When was the start of that? Around December last year. So this is the thing. Somebody on the inside let all these bigwigs know that the bank is insolvent. You better pull your money out. Somebody on the inside, a man, was contacting all these people and companies. They had a list, and they were going through, and they were making contact on the sly through an anonymous sort of email or whatever it is, but they were giving them information, like as in a memo, a leaked memo, or some sort of documentation that would support what they were saying.
Right. Okay. Apparently the day before they went bust, which was Friday, the day before, they paid out bonuses to their the executives. Is that correct?
The day before you paid out bonuses. Yes, that is correct. They knew that they were going down.
Okay.
I think that's illegal.
It is completely illegal. If you know that you're going down and you pay out money, because what you're doing is you are defrauding the creditors, because you're taking money away that could be paid to them to pay out bonuses. Wow, not even wages, bonuses. Oh yeah, that is illegal. Yeah, but you know, illegal. And will anything happen to them? Probably not.
No, I gotta know.
Right. The California's governor's wife, Jennifer Newsom, she is involved in this. She's the president, apparently, of SVB Capital and sits on the board. Has she anything to do with this?
No, she's completely naive. She doesn't, I don't feel like this is what she knows, or she's just a figurehead.
So why is she on the board then, or is that an obvious question?
Because it makes them look good. It makes them look credible, legitimate.
Right. Is it true that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry had their money invested in that bank?
Ooh, I did not know that. Oh, is it true that Meghan Markle had money invested in your bank? A lot of, yes, and a lot of other people too, big time people.
Right.
Billions.
Is that one of the reasons? Yeah. Is that one of the reasons why this bank has been bailed out? Because of who was invested in it?
Yes. Because if all those people lose a lot of money, so does the California government, as far as like taxes. It'll be a tax loss. So in thinking about how much tax they collect, if you have all this tax harvesting on this massive loss, California is going to lose a lot of money.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. But obviously that's California's internal problem, but they've turned to, and that's, just remind me which party runs California. Oh, that's right, the same one in the government. So they have turned to their buddies. They've turned to their buddies in the federal and basically getting fed money to bail this out.
Yeah? Yes, because without all, if everybody sort of claims this as a tax loss,
yeah,
California is screwed. There's
right.
so much money in this bank. And it's a lot of new money. It's not old money, it's new money. And new money, they do not know how to handle their money properly. So this is what I'm getting through. Old money would make sure that it was spread out, that you don't have it in any one place, right?
Yeah.
You know how to handle it properly. New money puts everything that they have in one place, because they're not seasoned enough to know where to put money. Now, of course, I'm not saying Prince Harry is new money. I'm not saying that.
But Meghan Markle is.
Yes, but certainly like managing their money is new. And they sort of broke away. What I'm getting is they broke away from obviously the royal family, their team of accountants and lawyers managing money. They wanted to manage it on their own, but it's not just them. There's a lot of big tech people. There's a lot of startup investment money in this bank, where people have ideas in Silicon Valley.
Yep.
And there's, they've pulled loads of investors. They've got billions to back their ideas. Those accounts are at this bank as well. Now, where does the crypto come into all this?
Well, because Coinbase had about, had X amount of billion at that bank. They are, I think, one of the largest depositors.
Is Coinbase one of the largest depositors in your bank? One of many, yes.
Right.
Yes. This bank also takes a lot of offshore money.
Right.
So offshore investors that want to hide their money or put their money in the US, that is also there.
Right.
Well, we did listen, we've got hits all over the place. Okay. I hate to say this, but I have to report my hits, right?
Right.
2 years ago, I said March 2023, something big is going to happen. Cryptos are going to go up in smoke. Now, bearing in mind that was quite far away from the energy, now that we're closer to the energy, we can see that some cryptos survive, but a lot of cryptos don't. But still, I said something's going to happen with the exchanges. It's like the money just disappears. I reported a form of hacking. Well, that came true with the FTX. That was allegedly hacking. Now we know it was probably Bankman-Fried hacking his own systems. But now March 2023 is here, and look what's happened. And I kept getting the cryptos were going up in smoke. Now we heard tether all the time. Tether's going to crash. Tether this, tether that. And I said, no, it's not Tether. It's USDC that's going to go down. Well, right when this happened, USDC went down, right down to the level I predicted, which was like around the 80 cents. Obviously, that's now recovered. So that was another hit. I mean, and our charts that we put out this month and the remote view, so those double, those alignments, it's all coming in. Now, the biggest question is, Liz didn't predict the crash. Well, we haven't crashed yet. And by the looks of it, I don't think we're going to.
Right. Okay. Well, that'll be a subject to a couple of different probes, I think, tomorrow, because obviously we only have limited time today. Right. Hold on a minute. Let's ask some more questions of this bank.
Okay.
What was the purpose of the bank? I mean, I know a lot of venture capitalists use it and things like that. Was it there to provide investment, or was it just a money laundering or a money hiding? I mean, what was the purpose of the bank?
The purpose of the bank. I feel like it was a bit of a Ponzi scheme. It's almost like, crypto is what I feel. Some people put in, some people are lucky enough to get out, some people end up keeping their money in. That's what it feels like to me.
Right. Wow.
It feels very much like that. It was also a safe haven for people or companies that dealt in crypto, because it was very accepting of crypto payments. It was very accepting of crypto businesses.
Oh yeah, there was at least 10 businesses that had their money had their funds, not necessarily all of them, but had funds held at this bank. Coinbase was just the number one by dollar value, but there were about 10 in total.
And there's international organizations, international companies that also use this bank, where they had cryptos as a form of payment. This bank would turn them into cash.
Right. Interesting. Okay. All right. One of the problems that SVB has had is that as interest rates have been going up since last year, somebody has put out here that they've lost more than $1 billion every time interest rates went up 25 basis points, which is 0.25%. Is that true?
More than $1 billion every time.
Because they had no rate, they had no hedges against this, they had no protection. Nobody in their risk or department thought that would be a prudent thing to do.
Right. That's true. That's true. I don't know who I sort of, liked the comments on the Patreon, but I didn't read into them too much. I just sort of think,
Oh, I'm not getting this from the page. This is from
okay.
this is from my sources. Is it true then that the deposit outflows were exceeding the VC fundings and things like that? So as VC funding slowed down, more and more people were taking their money out. Is that true?
VC funding slowed down, the more and more people were taking money out. Yes. So from last year, more and more people were withdrawing their money. Now, unbeknownst to this bank, they don't understand that somebody on the inside was telling these people to withdraw.
Obviously not, no. But
no, the bank doesn't know that. But
no.
There is somebody on the inside. He's in his 30s. He had a lot of information. He had access to all the names, all of the accounts, print out spreadsheets, contact information. And he started, painstakingly going down the list, but he couldn't do too many at once because then it would look like a spam scam email.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't know about that. So let's ask that. Can you identify him, if only in? Well, can you identify him to the point where you can ask him why he did do this?
Yeah.
Why did he do it?
I can see him very clearly.
Okay. Why did he do it?
Because he hated that bank.
Okay.
What else was it that prompted you? So if you hate the bank, why didn't you just go get another job? He also had investments in that bank.
Right. And were they materially affected by the bank's operation?
Were they materially affected by? Yes.
Okay. All right.
And there was also like shares in the bank somewhere. So I feel like they were trying to retain their staff by promising like shares or bonus shares. There's something to do with shares. And when they stopped receiving shares, this guy was very smart, right? And he's also in crypto, big time in crypto. And he started notifying people.
Which is his favorite crypto?
Which is your favorite which is your favorite crypto? Ethereum.
Okay, good. All right.
But he could see where this was going.
Right.
And he could see, this was not sustainable. He was very worried about the other crypto people involved. He also says the bigwigs at the top were very lavish. They were showing up in very flash cars. They lived in multi-million-dollar homes. They were just burning through the cash.
Right. Okay. Was it so they've attempted, this is the bank again, so you need to ask the bank, they attempted to raise equity. Was that the thing that actually triggered the bank run when they started to try and raise equity? Because that's always a worrying sign when companies want to do that, especially banks. I mean, if an engineering firm wants to raise equity to build the Model B of the Model A of what they're doing, that's one thing. But when a bank wants to raise equity, it normally means their liquidity ratios are through the floor. So is that what triggered the bank run here?
Is that what triggered the bank run? The fact that people are trying to raise equity? Well, they thought they were doing it on the down low, right? They thought that they were doing it secretively.
Right.
They were asking they were trying to raise equity. They were trying to get more investors into what they call the crypto space. I feel like this is a real sort of new money crypto bank. I just feel the more I probe it, the more it's to do with crypto.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, crypto friendly banks are something that, are to be applauded generally, because a lot of banks are not crypto friendly, as we know. So from that point of view, okay. All right, let's just pop over to, we can hold them a minute.
London?
No, let's go to the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation.
Oh, FDIC, yeah.
Now then, that is what Biden has said is bailing out this bank. So let's
Okay.
let's see if we can grab them as an entity.
I've got them.
Have they been instructed to bail out the Silicon Valley Bank, SVB?
Have you been instructed to bail out the Silicon Valley Bank? We were told we had to.
Does that mean they didn't want to?
No, they didn't want to bail out the bank. They were told by the government. They were told that they had to, or they would lose funding.
Okay. Will the entirety of the bailout funds required be coming from the FDIC?
No.
What percentage will be coming from the FDIC?
Very small percentage, maybe 2%.
Okay. Where's the rest of the money coming from?
Where's the rest? It's going to be spread out.
Yeah, but spread out from where?
Corporate tax, capital gains, and it'll trickle down to the individual taxpayer.
Right. So in other words, the rest of it is coming from the government?
Is the rest of it coming from the government? No. According to the FDIC, it's coming from the people.
So the American citizens, the American taxpayers are bailing out this private bank. Is that what they're saying?
Basically, yeah, the government will collect the money and then pass it on to the FDIC to bail. Yes.
Right.
Well,
but the bailout.
I feel like they've already. It's like the money's already there, and I don't know how the money is already there, but the money's already there. They've got to almost recapture the money. And over time,
obviously, Biden in his speech on Sunday night said that, American taxpayers were not on the hook and the FDIC were paying all of it. I didn't believe that for 1 minute, because I happen to know that the FDIC cannot possibly bail out every single bank account in America. There is no way they have that kind of money. No way. No,
they don't. But the money is there. And I feel like they've given themselves a time, the government have given a time limit to recapture the money from the taxpayers to put the money back into the FDIC.
Right.
But overall, very little money is coming from the FDIC direct.
Okay. So people might want to look at the speech that Biden made about that compared to this probe, because they do not tally up. Okay. When a bank is closed, so basically what happens is, in this case, the California Department of Financial Services, probably, or whatever they're called, they were the ones that closed it down. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, they then get named as the receiver. And then basically to hold investor and market confidence, it's the US government now that essentially are backstopping this bank. Okay, they have stopped the bank run. They are the ones that essentially are behind it. Okay. So that then, makes people in the market happier, because they know the US government are behind it and they essentially can backstop any of these banks. I mean, they can, because they literally can instruct the Fed to print the money to pay. So it's not a problem from that point of view. Now, of course, why the bigger questions that should be asked is why are they bailing out private banks? Well, we know that because California, had this bank been in Florida where the Republicans controlled Senate and everything else, they would have been allowed to fail. I have a funny feeling that would have happened, but because it's California, no.
Right.
Right. So
they're protecting their voter population.
Of course. Yeah, it's all politics. Yeah. I mean, this is not capitalism. This is crony capitalism as it started and socialism as it finished. I mean, to bail out a private bank, that's just purely socialist. I mean, you can't look at it any other way. If me and you, the Liz Shakespeare Bank had a bank and we went bust, we would just go to the ground. They wouldn't bail us out. We get capitalism, they get socialism. Right.
But they're not going to bail out all the banks that are.
No, I'm sure they're not. But what we now need to move on to is just need to hold all these entities because they're all connected.
Okay.
Hold on. I need to just hold on. Now, this was another bank that also went under around the same time. This is Signature Bank in New York. And as you can see, this was closed by the New York Department of Financial Services, not the California one, because it's based in New York. And subsequently, again, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation was named as the receiver. So they're the ones that are going to distribute the funds and everything else. Now, ultimately, all banks that go bust come under the purview of the Federal Reserve. The Fed takes them all over. Okay, that's what will end up happening. Right. This was the bank, by the way, that closed down Donald Trump's account because they said he was too risky or something. After the January 6th debacle, which all the information is now coming out about that. But they shut down Trump's bank account and now they've gone bust themselves. Right. You need to grab the Signature Bank, please, Liz.
What am I grabbing? Signature?
Yeah, can you see it on your screen?
Yes. Okay, I've got them.
Yeah, this is the Signature Bank based out of New York. Signature Bridge Bank. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, they've gone into receivership, in other words, under federal protection as of the 12th of March. How long have they been insolvent?
Again, since 2021.
Okay. And were they under no requirement to either tell their shareholders or the financial regulator in New York or the stock exchange, NASDAQ, or wherever they're on, that they've been trading insolvent?
The government knew, but nobody else they're not required to report that to anybody else because it could cause a bank run.
Absolutely, it could cause a bank run. Okay. If you knew your bank was insolvent, most banks are insolvent. We know that because we've done liquidity ratio tests on them in the past, and they are very, very low, virtually on the zero. I mean, some of them are just above zero. So, okay. Right, let's hold them again. Go back to the FDIC.
Mm-hmm.
Did the FDIC want to bail out the Signature Bank of New York? Did they want to be involved?
No, they don't want to bail out any of these banks. That's not their job.
No, I know.
Their job is not bailing out banks, they're telling me. Their job is to secure the deposits, to secure the consumers. It's not to bail out the bank. If the bank goes bust, that's their problem. It's not to give handouts to the bank. It's to protect the consumers. Now, they don't have a problem giving money out to consumers that have lost their money.
Correct. Well, that's their job. Yeah.
But this whole thing about bailing out banks is what they're telling me. It's like they're saying it's an oxymoron. I don't know why they said that, but that's what they just said.
Well, no, I understand completely, and I completely agree. Their job is to protect the consumer, the small guy, who has up to, I don't know what the individual limit is, maybe 250, 150 or something like that, $1,000, So if you're a mum and pop operation, or, you have your money in there and this bank goes up, they will make you whole. That is the point. Yeah. They're not supposed to make big depositors over 250 whole, and they're not supposed to bail out shareholders or the bank itself. That's not their job. And yet they are being used as the receiver for this bank. Now, interestingly, when we just switch back to Silicon Valley Bank again, we can now see that Silicon Valley Bridge Bank is a newly created full service FDIC operated bridge bank. I mean, they are literally taking the stuff out of it and dumping all the crap on the American taxpayer, I would imagine. Funny how they got that one arranged so quickly. How did they do that, Liz? Let's ask, shall we?
Okay, who am I asking?
Well, let's ask the Silicon Valley Bank first of all. This Silicon Valley Bridge Bank is a newly created. When was the idea thought up about that one?
That was actually thought up quite some time ago.
Oh, you mean like it was planned?
Yes.
Oh, so this was a planned collapse?
Was this a planned collapse? No, but this is the contingency.
Okay. Right, hold them again. Go back to Signature Bank. Have they got any contingency for like a bridge bank or anything? Did they have any contingency?
No.
Okay. All right. All right, let's go back to Silicon Valley Bank again. So they've got a bridge bank. Have they basically taken all the good stuff from the old bank and then they're going to dump the rest on the American taxpayer? Is that the plan?
They're trying to salvage what they have, which is very little.
Right.
What is the bridge bank going to do? It's the money from the government to go forward. Yes.
So that's a bailout. That's an out and out bailout.
Yes, but it's going to be heavily regulated from here on out. Like government officials will be in that bank.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm sure the consumer will feel a lot better knowing that's going to happen.
Will the consumer get? I don't feel like they're going to get their money though. I feel like a lot of their money is gone.
Where's it gone?
Up in smoke, basically. Operating costs, covering those that were already able to withdraw and close their accounts. That's where all the money's gone.
Right.
So the poor people that have been left sitting in the bank, I don't feel like they're going to get all their money back.
Right.
I feel like that money's gone. They didn't have the liquidity. They spent the liquidity.
Okay.
The liquidity was well and truly gone. The money that was left, which was very little compared to, the overall. So 100% of the deposit money, I'm telling you, it's like crypto. When we've done the crypto liquidities,
yeah,
that's what this is. I feel like the liquidity was about 1 or 2%. And so lucky for some that took heed of that guy's warning, they closed their accounts, they pulled the money out. And I tell you what, they're very grateful for that guy.
Oh,
they are. I feel like they've even given him a thank you payment.
Well, you would, wouldn't you, if you got the heads up on that one? I mean, that's, yeah, you would be very grateful.
But he's only taking thank you payments in crypto.
Well, of course he is.
So, yeah. So that's where the liquidity went. It was when people were pulling out their money, and then that was it. They ran out of money, but they knew they were running out. They knew time was running out. They knew this wasn't sustainable. That is why, you know, what is it you said they didn't have somebody employed? Who was it? Like operations or what was
Well,
that?
yeah. So the chief risk officer
There
seemed
was
to
no
have.
point having one because they would have shut the bank down anyway.
Well, but she didn't look I don't think she really stood. I mean, if you look at her bio, the credentials, you would probably not employ her as a chief risk officer ordinarily in a major commercial bank. Her priorities and her ideologies were slightly different than what you would expect at a bank. Let's put it that way.
Well, and there was a reason for employing that type of person, right? Because then they're the fall guy.
Right.
They
Okay.
knew exactly what they were doing.
Well, I'm sure they do. But the problem now is that everybody else is left holding the problem, Wow. The problem with the banks, obviously, is all of these operate on the fractional reserve system. The liquidity ratios, the debt to equity ratios are so low that they're allowed to operate on. And that is a joke. They take in $1 million, they can create 10 million or 100 million or 40 million off the back of that, and that's great because they all earn great fees and they can earn lavish lifestyles. But when things go wrong, you pull out $1 million, you could be affecting $40 million worth of equity straight away. Bang. It's not just the million you pull out, it's the 40 million that they've lent against. That's what causes these banks problems. If a bank was capitalized 100% against the loans and everything else, there would be no problem. Somebody pulls out 5%, so what? 5%, and then 5% of the loans. I mean, that's not a problem. It's the fractional reserve system of these banks that have been allowed to, flourish, if you like, over the years. And why is that allowed to happen, Mr. Shakespeare? Easily, because we live in a debt-based money system. It's as simple as that. All our thing is created as credit, is debt, if you like. Yeah. So, wow. Okay. Do I have any more questions for this one? I think I do.
I'm sure you do. Everybody's been waiting for this video. You realize?
Well, this is going to be more than one video because I'm going to go down quite a few different rabbit holes on this. This could be the touch, just the touch paper that lights the whole thing. I personally think this could be way bigger than this. These banks. There's already been about 4 or 5 banks of a smaller scale that have gone down over the weekend because of this. We're just touching on 2 at the moment because they're the biggest. This one is the biggest.
I don't understand why those other banks have gone down. That's what I don't get. I mean, again, I have stayed away from the news. Oh, Liz, that's impossible. No, it's not. It's not when you have 2 kids and you're running them around to birthday parties and, seriously, Mr. Shakespeare, you can vouch for me. Was I able to even hold a conversation at the weekend?
Nope.
No, because I was running here, there, and everywhere. I didn't even have time to look at the news. But I don't understand why the other banks are going down. That's a mystery to me.
Well, the other banks are going down because of what I've just said. Their liquidity ratios are so low that you only have to have a few people pull their funds out, and that causes them massive problems. They're so over leveraged in what they do. Yeah. Banks earn money by doing things for people and earning fees. Yeah. Creating a loan out of thin air. Well, they're allowed to do that. So people have to get over that. Yeah. But they still have to work within the liquidity ratios given to them. And the liquidity ratios, are woefully low. If they had to be 90% or 100% capitalized, liquid compared to loan to book and everything, there wouldn't be any of these problems. But there would be no big fees. We live in a debt-based society where the money must be created and it must only ever go up. It can't go down. They can't have deflation. They can't have what we want, deflation, because their system will crash. You're going to see now one of our next probes is going to be what the Fed is going to do about this, because, at the moment they can do one of 2 things: save the system or save the dollar. They can't save both.
Right. And this is I think this is the idea where printing money comes in.
Yeah.
So I think the big question is, are the Fed going to print more money to pay all these people back? And then the taxpayer, we all are at the mercy of paying it back. Right? So I think that has to be incorporated into the next probe.
It
for
absolutely
sure.
will be incorporated. It's very, very pivotal. Yeah, to what they do.
Is that a
hang on.
word, Mr. Shakespeare?
No, it's no, it's not a word. Oh God. Oh dear.
Not only do you get mind probes here, people, but you get new words too.
Yeah, we got to invent a new word now and again, you know.
Yeah.
Now here's another thing. Silvergate. That, you know. That also,
Silvergate.
yeah.
What is that? A conspiracy against silver?
No, it's a bank.
Oh, it's a bank.
Hmm.
My audience must think, God, she's so dumb. But you don't understand. You know, for those of you new listening, I have to stay blind to this stuff. I don't want see, this is the problem with psychic information, right? The problem is if your logical mind has already like been fed. So when you're receiving psychic, it's early. And we had our clocks went forward this weekend. For those of you outside the US. So we've lost an hour sleep and it's killing me. But anyway, you know, as you're receiving psychic information, the reason you don't want to be front loaded in RV terms is because then your logical mind kicks in and tries to override the psychic information. You know, take a look at the probes. People often say, well, how come, you know, and again, that Lisa Marie probe was so steeped in controversy because the other mediums told them what they wanted to hear. Well, if they were a fan of Lisa Marie, which I totally wasn't, I could care less what she did, said, or whatever, you know, then their logical mind will override the answers, right? But also my police training, okay, because I worked for the police as a dispatcher for so many years. I swear to God, that was like the best job I could ever do. Spirit knew what they were doing when they said, no, actually, Liz, you're not going to be a barrister. I know you just finished law school, but you're not going to be a barrister. You're going to go be a dispatcher for many years. Well, there's a reason for that, because you have a job to do and you do it. You have to switch off a part of your brain to do that job. You have to remove your emotions, right? You have to remove logical thinking a lot of times, right? You're just there and it was a very fast moving environment. I don't think people realize the scale of the criminal activity in a city such as London. You know, it wasn't like mom and pop, you know, little dispatch station. I'm talking like 300 to 400 incidents in a 12-hour shift. Now that's a lot. And bearing in mind that the London Metropolitan Police is so stretched anyway, back in the day, we didn't go to things like, you know, regular burglaries and criminal damage. Like, you know, over here, we're very lucky. You call the police come. But over there, we're not sending officers out to that. We're doing suspects on, meaning your suspects are in your house. You're doing active rapes, active robberies, active carjackings, hostage situations, active domestic. So when I say I took 300 to 400 calls a shift, they were active calls, mostly active crime scenes. And so that training made me separate my emotional and logical and, you know, reasoning. I became a robot. You know, I became a machine. And that's what I'm doing here. And that's why I don't want to be front loaded, because, you know, I'm dispatching for the spirit world, basically. I said that to somebody on Sunday. So Silvergate. What
Right.
happened? with
Let's
Silvergate?
get you back on this thing
So
because
I know, but I have to give an explanation because
I know.
people don't understand.
Well, a lot of people do because they're getting to know how, we've said it many times. I do not front load Liz with anything. I mean, if I ever sort of say anything in up front, I shut myself up very quickly because I know how important this is. Liz is better off not knowing anything. I drop things on her and she has no clue what I'm going to do. Like this one, Silvergate. Here we go. You didn't know we were going to talk about this one today.
I didn't even know what Silvergate was.
Right. Well, so Silvergate, they have based themselves. They've made a payment system, which is like a 24/7, 365 days a year payment system, which would have competed with the FedNow system. In fact, now they've been stopped. Now, effective immediately, Silvergate has made the risk-based decision to discontinue, the Silvergate Exchange Network. So I want you to probe them, please, Liz, and find out why have they done that?
Why have you discontinued? They couldn't afford to keep going.
Okay, but has this got anything to do with Silicon Valley Bank? The funding or anything like that? Were they being funded or partly or wholly through that bank?
Yes, they were connected.
Right. Okay.
I feel like Silvergate is a bit of a money laundering expedition.
Right.
So, take from the rich and give to the poor. I feel like these billionaires that were investing in SVB, they then had to clean that money, right? So clean that liquidity somewhere else for their own personal gain. So I feel like there's a lot of LLCs set up. I feel like there's a lot of businesses set up to take payment for services. And that's how they would clean the money.
Okay. So
does that make sense?
It does, but I think there might be a further step that we need to investigate with these two. So there is something called the Eurodollar market. Eurodollar market is the name given to all dollars created outside of the US. So wherever they're created, they're not created in the US. So this is not, a guy in Wisconsin going to his local bank to get a mortgage and creating that there. This is nothing to do with that. This is all the dollars held and, more importantly, created outside of the US. Okay, so the question is, this is to both of them, both Silvergate and Silicon Valley, right? Are they involved in the so-called Eurodollar market? In other words, was one of them the architecture and the other one was the money funneled from a competing system to end the Fed? Was this basically to get them, how can I put this? There's speculation out there that both of these were involved. They're trying to get the Fed to pivot and reverse its tight monetary policy. In other words, they want to create dollars, euro dollars, so-called euro dollars, outside of the United States. Okay. Were they involved in this? Because I think they were.
Partially.
Bingo. Now that's interesting, because that means that what they're doing is they're trying to usurp the Fed's tight monetary policy. These schemes and these systems were all really, they started when Yellen or Bernanke era of zero interest rate policies, when they were Fed chairman and things like that. We've got a different Fed chairman now. But so they're trying to, and the cryptos are part of this, by the way, not Bitcoin, but other cryptos are part of this. They are part of creating so-called euro dollars. you know, a lot of people think, what does that mean? It was created in the European Union. No, it can be created anywhere outside of the US. Doesn't matter whether it's Mexico, Canada, Hong Kong. It doesn't matter. Anything dollar denominated created outside of the US is collectively known as the euro dollar. And that really, Liz, I don't know if you can do this. Can you collate together? Can you grab together the euro dollar market?
Yes.
What is the purpose of the euro dollar market? What is the purpose of the euro dollar? Sorry, the so-called euro dollar.
It's a cleansing, a money laundering.
So that would be against the US dollar?
No.
No?
No. It's
Okay.
it's against both.
It's against both. What do you mean by that? What do they mean by that?
The originating country and the US. So it's basically circumventing the banking system. I don't understand what this is.
Well, the fact is that you can create dollars outside of the US is, you know, is against the US in a way, because I mean, the US is the reserve currency of the world and has been since 48. So there's a reason why this has been allowed, I think. I don't know. But I think this is being used for nefarious purposes. I don't think this is being used for the benefit. If they're trying to usurp the Fed policy, which is tightening the monetary policy, that means they want it loose. They want all these dollars flying around all over the place. And I think cryptos are part of this, actually. Not Bitcoin, but cryptos.
Okay. How are cryptos part of this?
Well, because they can create, look what FTX did. FTX invented themselves, created an FTX token. That was an exchange for dollar-based things, you know, Ethereum, whatever. I mean, the FTX token didn't exist, and then it did. And that was exchanged for real dollars, wasn't it? So-called real dollars. But in the crypto sphere, that's the euro dollar market, you know, because most of it is held offshore to the United States. This is something I need to go into a bit more, not today. I just wanted to get a primer. I just wanted to know this was part of it. This is going to be another probe.
Okay. All right. Well, we still got all our questions to go through on the Patreon.
Yeah.
Those videos will be exclusive. I feel like going forward, we're going to generate a lot of exclusive videos for the subscribers only. So they're in the know. If you want to be in the know, you will have to subscribe to the Patreon /remote viewing and beyond. Don't forget, Mr. Shakespeare has his little Bitcoin and his little crypto tip jars down there, right? He does this, you know, because he wants to. So, you know, buy him a drink, buy him a coffee or a. What do you drink, Mr. Shakespeare?
What do I drink? Well, I drink coffee, but I drink tea as well. But I mean,
Tea, coffee.
Yeah, the usual stuff.
Do you like a crumpet? Those of you outside the UK won't get that joke. Okay. Okay, but what about in the pub?
No, I drink wine mainly. I'm a red wine. I don't really drink spirits. I don't really drink any of that. I just like a very good quality red wine. That's what I like.
Good quality red wine. So buy him a glass of wine. I mean, come on. He does so much good work for us. Buy him a glass of wine. How much is a glass of wine over there? Or a good quality glass of wine? How much is? I can't afford to go to the pubs anymore. I don't know. But anyway, tell me, how much is a glass of wine?
What, a good quality glass of wine? Oh,
Yeah.
That could be anything from £7 to £10.
That's not so bad.
No, but bear in mind, you know, these are all measured things out over here. So wine is a measured. So that would be 250 ml.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
our
well,
shots are bigger than your shots. You know that, right?
yeah, but you don't measure them out. You're like a lot of European countries. You just here we're governed by the Weights and Measures Act. 1/6 gill, 1/3 gill, and all that. All alcohol when it's dispensed, not in a restaurant, but in a public house. They're all controlled, aren't they? So it's very weird when you go into a bar or a pub and they sort of go to the optic and they have to measure it out and all that lot. And I know why they do that is because in the past people would, publicans and all that would shortchange people. But I mean, if you go to a bar in America, like if you go to a bar in Spain, in France, in Portugal, they just tip it out of the glass. They don't measure it. But anyway.
There you go. So please buy Mr. Shakespeare a glass of wine. Are you parched?
Well, it's only 12 here at the moment, so I know it's much earlier there for you, but this is lunchtime for us. So, it is lunchtime, really, I suppose. So I'm off to have my glass of mineral water now because that's what I need.
Okay, well, we're going to do some more deep dive into this again. If you want the access to the other content that we're going to produce, you will need to go to Patreon/Remote Viewing and Beyond. It's only $3.50 a week. It's not going to break the bank. well, in this case, it might. But anyway, so I can't wait to do more videos on this, Mr. Shakespeare. Thank you so much.
No, I mean, look at cryptos. Cryptos have responded just as a parting thought. I mean, all crypto. Well, I didn't check. Well, hang on. Let me just check right now.
Now that Bitcoin is up. I couldn't understand why cryptos responded in that way, to be honest.
Well, I think people are using them as a safe haven. So all cryptos are up. And obviously, I know we'll go into this in another video because this one's going on for a long time. All right, leave it.
Right. But don't forget.
Hex is up.
Don't forget. I'm going to call a hit on that too, because with all the charts and the remote views we did at the beginning of March, what did we say? We said the crypto market would fare better than the stock market this month. And look what's happened. So yeah, that's another hit. All right. Well, thanks very much. And I can't wait to make the next one.